snotty little kids waking up their parents. It's such a beautiful day. It's such a beautiful day. It's such a beautiful day in the neighborhood. The birds are chirping, lawnmowers cutting, barbecue burning, dead animals. It's such a beautiful day. It's such a beautiful day. It's such a bitchin' day. It's such a wonderful day. It's such a beautiful day. It's such a gorgeous day. It's such a happy day. It's such a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
It's so true. That's the song. That's the show. It's beautiful.
It's a beautiful day. Yeah. So, I woke up to the sound of silence. And it was during rush hour. So I was just like laying in bed and trying to figure out what the hell was going on because it was light already. And so then I reached over and looked at my phone. And a couple weeks ago, I got the Citizen app. It's a free app on the phone. I mean, a lot of people have already heard of it. I just got it a couple weeks ago, and it's kind of like Nextdoor, but not. I mean, so you're in your neighborhood. You know, it's your neighbors. You have to, put in your location and stuff like that, and you basically report on stuff that goings on in the neighborhood. Like it's not something where you're gonna like ask people about a handyman or promote your business or anything like that. It's like only to report like if there's a break-in or police activity and they close some of the streets or whatever. And it's cool because it gives you the option to broadcast. Like it'll turn your mic on and turn your camera on, and we could stand in front of a crime scene and have a little broadcast, if anybody will let us. I have a press pass, and I actually found it the other day, but I think it's expired. Maybe I could put a Sharpie through the expiration date.
I have a press pass from the Green Egg.
What?
I have a press pass from the Green Egg magazine.
Is it current?
Yes, we just reissued.
Okay. Well, we can try both of those things, and so anyway, they're basically, I don't know if I'm going to read the whole thing or not, but there was a guy who wanted to jump, and so it was first reported at 2:13, incident report 2:13 a.m. Incident reported at, and then they give the address. And then it says, citizen user video shows multiple police officers setting up a crime scene at the 76 gas station. There's a little video. And then at 5:47 a.m., all US 101 lanes have been closed at this intersection due to police activity. Then 5:58 a.m., police advise that they have been negotiating with the person in distress. 6:10 a.m., please stay clear of the area and avoid interfering with police work. 6:59 a.m., units are formulating a new plan to address this incident. This operation is ongoing. And then that's the last of it. And then I would say probably about 10 a.m. Pacific. It's about 11 a.m. Pacific now. They opened it. I mean, it was always going in one direction. There's a ton of traffic, but then the traffic, it really got light, and it was totally moving on one side, the northbound, and the southbound was totally closed, and they opened it. And you have an update on the situation? I guess it was some guy who wanted to jump.
Yeah, that's what I heard. They had him in custody, and then they opened the freeways. It was nuts. I had to take the kid to school. Luckily, I don't take the freeways, but since the 101 is such a huge, major freeway here, yeah, all of the streets around were just nuts, just packed. And yeah, we almost did a show without traffic noise in the background.
Yeah,
That would have been weird. It would have been like dead air or something.
It would have been eerie. It was really eerie this morning. You know, I mean, sometimes I'll wake up at 3 or 4 and it's that quiet, you know, because nobody's out driving. But usually, like, it's just freeway noise, and we pretend it's the ocean at night.
Yeah.
Reminds us of Santa Cruz.
Yeah. And we've got so many, you know, freeways closed. Like yesterday was the 405 was closed for the Getty fire. I think that finally opened. If that had been closed and the 101, oh man, they'd have been having a whole bunch of people wanting to jump. look at that hawk circling the Capitol Records building. You can't see it, so there's a hawk circling the Capitol Records building.
Put that on Citizen. There's a hawk.
Citizen app. I had Nextdoor going off. I thought I had the Citizen app. I'm going to have to look again.
The Citizen app will give you alerts, and it's more of like, you know, Nextdoor is kind of, it is neighborhood goings on, but it's also other stuff in the neighborhood. Like I said, like if somebody's looking for a plumber or something like that. But this is strictly for activity in the neighborhood. So it's not like there's always posts all day, every day. It's just like maybe 1 or 2 a day or something like that. It doesn't like, there's no frivolous stuff posted on it. So it's a valuable thing to have. It was easy to download. It's free.
Free.
I recommend it. You know, if you're interested
Citizen.
in what's going on in your neighborhood, like we are, then I recommend it.
Yeah, with Nextdoor last week, you know, I think they're still going on about this woman typing in all caps. She's angry because people use gas-powered leaf blowers. It's 7 a.m. She feels like a prisoner in her own house. She's, you know, it's Hollywood. She's probably, you know, an actress / waitress and does a lot of drama.
Newmar's still alive. Remember, she went on that whole tirade. You didn't know about that? It was like in the news. It was a while, like probably 20 years ago. But she went on this crusade against leaf blowers. She lived somewhere on the west side, you know, this nice, quiet neighborhood. And she went on this like political campaign against leaf blowers. I think she lost, or maybe she won. I don't even know. But it's this whole thing with Catwoman.
It's like, you know,
Maybe it's her.
we
She's still alive.
I remember we had a construction site pop up right next to our house in Santa Cruz one time. They built a house right over our bedroom window. It was noisy as fuck, and I thought they couldn't do it till 10, but no, that's not how it works. The world starts moving, and it was like 7:30, 7:45, something like that.
That, you know, everybody has to be up by 7 or at the latest to get ready for work and stuff. So that's
Shit starts.
you know, I had a very respectable job that happened to be between 3 p.m. and midnight. So I wasn't going to be awake at 7 a.m. They just make all these assumptions. I had an important job. You know, what if I was like an ambulance driver or a police officer or something? There's people with important jobs that don't keep those hours.
Yes, I had one of those jobs, and it was graveyard shift. And I hated. I remember I had. I'd worked graveyard shift for a long time, but there was these. I lived in an apartment building, and there was kids right across from my bedroom window, and they would just start their day running out the door, screaming at the top of their lungs. I hated kids back then. So that's what's going on around here.
Okay, so
I guess.
what's going on in the world?
Well, you know, there's the impeachment thing going on.
You know, there was that mashup that they did with between the difference between Trump and Obama when they when Obama was a president, when Bin Laden was caught, and then now with Trump. And
find the audio to the mashup.
yeah, well, that's what I'm looking for.
They,
Did I save it? Let me see if I
they have this picture of they showed the picture of the war room with Obama, and it's very professional looking. Everybody's sitting in their chairs watching this screen when they killed Osama bin Laden, and Trump's like it's like this pile of wires everywhere, and I look closely, like most of the wires aren't even attached. I think they threw a bunch of wires on the table to make it look like something was happening, because the way I heard it, Trump was golfing when the raid happened. So I think they were watching a rerun. Unless they had, maybe they did a makeshift war room somewhere on the golf course, which, would totally be not secure. But I did definitely read that Trump was golfing at the time that the raid happened to kill Baghdadi. Yeah, Baghdadi.
And then Colbert referred to, not Colbert, Jimmy Kimmel referred to Trump as Brag Daddy.
Brag Daddy.
Yeah. Okay, I'm trying to find it. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna... Where's the mashup? Okay, let's see. I'm just gonna look for it online, maybe.
You got to look for the mashup, because it's great audio. It was, the comparison between how Trump handled it, how Obama handled it. One was presidential, and one was like a schoolyard thug. I can't even imagine this. There's a part where Trump says Baghdadi, he died like a dog, crying and screaming.
No, he said he died like a dog, and then a beautiful dog. That was the best part.
Yeah. Well, no, that was the... Let's see.
This is it. Yeah. Okay, hang on a second.
All right, we're trying to get the audio here.
Audio.
And we probably have to, press it like 5 times.
Died like a dog.
Is this it? Okay, this is it. Okay, stand by. We're loading the clip. You have to press it like 10 times.
No.
And it's spinning, watching the little thing spin.
When Obama went on TV to announce that they'd killed bin Laden, he spoke for 9.5 minutes. Trump yesterday did 48 minutes on this. And for further comparison, we thought it might be fun to match up Trump's speech about al-Baghdadi with Obama's about bin Laden, and we were right, it was.
The United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden.
Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi is dead.
The United States launched a targeted operation against that compound.
They did a lot of shooting, and they did a lot of blasting, even not going through the front door. You think you go through the door. If you're a normal person, you say, knock, knock, may I come in?
After a firefight, they killed Osama bin Laden and took custody of his body.
He died like a dog.
But his death does not mark the end of our effort.
A beautiful dog.
We give thanks for the men who carried out this operation.
And I don't get any credit for this, but that's okay. I never do. Here we are.
May God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America.
And I'm writing a book. I wrote 12 books. All did very well.
God, I almost got to start watching these shows. I think they're on late, so that's why I don't see them that often. I got to get up early. Yeah, but the dumbing down of America. How far we went backwards in one president. You fucking believe this shit? We cover this shit all day.
I really don't.
Still can't believe this shit.
Yeah.
So I got the impeachment highlights.
About the Ukrainian guy?
Yeah.
Not really a Ukrainian guy.
Yeah.
An American guy.
So, yeah.
Doing espionage.
Yeah, well, before we get to the espionage, so we've got this. Okay, so the Republicans' entire strategy for the last month or so has been every time the Democrats bring a witness out, Mitch McConnell is going to yell about hearsay. That's hearsay. That's hearsay. They weren't there. They weren't there. They weren't on the call. Okay, so today they got a guy on the call. He was on the phone call we've all been talking about with the Ukrainian president. He's a full bird colonel with a Purple Heart And I saw this other picture. Like, you can't even see the Purple Heart because he's so fucking covered in medals. There's very little of his uniform left to put any more fucking medals on. Even this guy. Now they can't call it hearsay, but they're attacking his credibility, calling all kinds of names.
Tell them why.
Why? Well, you tell us why.
Okay.
He's Ukrainian.
This guy happened to be born in Ukraine and as a child immigrated to the United States.
Gasp.
I, too, was born in Ukraine and as a child immigrated to the United States. In fact, we're from the same city in Ukraine. And he has an identical twin brother. And my dad had an identical twin brother. It was just that kind of everybody knew each other, especially if you were a twin. So this guy probably knew my dad was. So it's a little exciting for me.
It seems like y'all only come from Odessa. Big place, I guess.
Well, there's people from Kiev too, and but yeah, mostly Odessa.
So, Army Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Vindman, the National Security Council's top expert on Ukraine. Wow, how did he land that job? It says is testifying. He actually did. We're actually seeing some of the stuff coming out.
3 hours ahead, so he actually did testify, but I haven't had a chance to fully look through it and hear what he said.
Well, he told the House impeachment investigators that he was so troubled by President Trump's July phone call with Ukraine president that he reported his concerns to a superior, according to a copy of his statement obtained by CNN. Now, I want to see next, okay, where to go. You follow. They're going to follow the paper. Okay, he reported to his superior chain of command. He's a military guy. That's what they do.
Apparently it didn't go anywhere.
Exactly. So who did he report it to, and what did that person do with the report?
I'd like to know that.
And who ordered them to do that with the report? And all roads lead to Putin.
Yep.
The House is going to vote to formalize the procedures of this impeachment probe into Trump on Thursday. And they're going to do it overwhelmingly. But the Republicans are already attacking that. They're going, well, it started with this fake, closed-door proceedings, talking about the fruit from the poisonous tree, blah, 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 blah. Refusing to recall that on Fox and Friends, we learned that is the House rules, and that those House rules were written by the GOP.
Their rules, yeah.
Probably so they could impeach Obama.
Discredit this guy because he was born there and now he's here. Like, he's been to Harvard, he's been overseas, he's been to Korea, Germany, Iraq, and he was injured in Iraq, and that's how he got the Purple Heart. Any guy who goes to Harvard and then joins the military after Harvard is not a meathead. So anyway, they're trying to discredit this guy and say that he's a double agent for Ukraine. So he was born there. And I don't know anything about this guy, but I don't know anybody who still lives there. And it sounds like he was in the exact same situation that I was in. We're born around the same time, too. So, yeah. I don't know.
So was that was somebody on Fox started that, I think?
Yeah, Laura Ingraham. And then she had a guest. I forgot what his name was, like James Yu or something like that, and he was agreeing with her. So, but I don't know who he was. And so they just decided, since he was born there, that clearly he's a double agent.
And let's see, there's 3 other people supposed to testify today. Catherine Wheelbarger, acting Assistant Secretary of Defense for International Security. Wow. Catherine Croft, State Department official who worked for Ukraine diplomat Kurt Volker. Christopher Anderson, another State Department official who worked for Volker. And then so it's Tuesday. And then there's going to be Thursday. I don't know what's happening Wednesday yet. GOP senators defend the House Ukraine expert against attacks on his patriotism. Okay.
Yeah, and here it says Liz Cheney Liz Cheney rips fellow Republicans for attacking impeachment witnesses' patriotism. And Liz Cheney is really, really not my favorite person, so it's kind of a big deal that she's ripping fellow Republicans for attacking his patriotism. So I thought that was interesting. And then just another headline. I just have to read it because it's the next story. $16.8 million in campaign funds went to Trump businesses, latest records reveal. When Trump holds a fundraiser at his properties, he gets donations while his business collects for rent and catering, which we already knew. But, wow.
Yeah. Let's see. They say that today, as the colonel was testifying, when a Republican got to ask questions, all of their questions were about the identity of the whistleblower.
Really?
They seem to be like obsessed, and there's a lot of Democrats coming out against that.
Really?
They harping. That's their new talking point for the week. Is they want to know who the whistleblower is.
Oh, really?
And whether we know who the whistleblower is or not, everything the whistleblower said has been confirmed by Trump and then by many witnesses.
And these are exactly the same people who are saying that whistleblowers need to be protected and that their identity must not be revealed. By the way.
Yeah. Going on and on about they're trying to throw the back door and throw the process of elimination by their questions, or through the process of elimination by their questions, they're attempting to get him to reveal who the whistleblower is, but
Wait, what?
he doesn't know who the whistleblower is.
Who doesn't know?
The colonel.
Yeah, he doesn't know who the whistleblower is.
That's what the Republicans were fixated on today, and he's already stated he doesn't know the identity.
They're asking him. Like I said, I haven't watched this or even read about it because it happened. I don't even know when it happened, earlier today. But so they just kept asking him who the whistleblower was.
Yeah, they used their questioning time to ask that rather than did the president break the law? Did the president betray the country? Did the president commit treason? Because these are the questions they don't want answered. They stopped talking about Trump's innocence a long time ago. I don't even see the Russian bots saying that when I'm in an argument with a Russian bot online anymore. They talk about the process. Now they're going to bash this man's credibility. I guess they can't say this one's hearsay, but they don't care about the actual case against the president.
Well, because it's so damning, they have to disregard it. Like, what else are they going to do? They're not going to. We have the evidence. He admitted to it on his own. Like, they can't say that he didn't say that. So what are they going to do? They can't say that they agreed with it, or they're just going to deflect and go somewhere else.
Yes. Yep. What you got? Got anything?
Is it time to ban Halloween candy?
Is it time to ban Halloween candy? What?
Yeah, I don't think
That's no.
Let's see. Oh, well, the Iraqi security forces gunned down 14 protesters. Remember that?
Yeah.
More than 800 wounded. I don't know what kind of protest exactly it was. It's a return to tactics denounced by the government's own internal inquiry.
Well, the BBC's talking about the second Arab Spring is happening. A guy in Lebanon just resigned.
Yeah.
There have been these crippling protests there. Egypt had to have a crackdown on their protesters recently, too.
Really?
We don't hear about this much because we're consumed with this impeachment shit.
Yeah. And also that Trump said Baghdadi died crying, but top officials don't know where he got that. Trump's official account of the terrorist downfall has come under scrutiny. Okay, so I'm going to read this one in just 1 second. Okay. When President Donald Trump told the nation on Sunday morning about the death of Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, he claimed the leader of the self-described Islamic State had died like a dog and a coward during a U.S. military operation in Syria, whimpering and crying and screaming as he fled into a tunnel before blowing himself up. But top administration officials have questioned where Trump, who watched the operation unfold from the Situation Room, got those details of Baghdadi's final moments. The live stream the president had been watching did not have audio and showed only overhead surveillance footage, the New York Times reported, citing military and intelligence officials. Quote, those surveillance feeds could not show what was happening in an underground tunnel, much less detect if Baghdadi was whimpering or crying, the Times said. At least 5 current senior administration officials expressed bafflement at Trump's whimpering remark, the Daily Beast reported Monday. Quote, 2 officials recounted how after they heard Trump's announcement on Sunday, they immediately began messaging each other questions and comments like, where is he getting that? The news outlet said. The Pentagon has also distanced itself from the president's comments. Asked on Sunday whether Baghdadi had indeed been whimpering and crying in the moments before his death, Defense Secretary Mark Esper said, I don't have those details. The following day, General Mark Milley, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, said he also didn't have the same information as Trump, but suggested the president may have gotten his information from military personnel on the ground. Quote, I know the president had planned to talk down to the unit and unit members, Milley told reporters, but I don't know what the source of that was. I assume it was talking directly to unit and unit members. But 2 senior officials told the Daily Beast that although Trump could have spoken to commandos on the ground who carried out the raid, that has not often been the case in past operations. Baghdadi's death is a major blow to ISIS and has been welcomed internationally as a victory against terrorism. It will also undoubtedly be remembered as one of the signature achievements of Trump's presidency. Trump, however, has come under scrutiny for his description of the operation that led to Baghdadi's downfall. Other than his remarks regarding Baghdadi's final moments, the president has also been scrutinized for his apparent downplaying of the role that allies, including Iraq and Syrian Kurds, played in the successful mission. Though Trump thanked Russia, Turkey, Iraq, Syria, and Syrian Kurds for their help in taking down the extremist leader, he insisted the U.S., quote, got very little help overall. We had our own intel, he said Sunday. We got very little help. We didn't need much help. Reports have since emerged of how Iraqi and Kurdish intelligence officials worked closely with the CIA to determine Baghdadi's precise location.
Somebody stole a pair of his underwear and brought it out to do DNA testing on to prove it, and I believe that was a Kurd. A Kurd stole the underwear. Yep. The Kurd, it could have been turds in there. All right, we're going to go to a musical break, but I just wanted to say, when Trump said that thing in front of reporters about, crying and whimpering and dying like a dog, a reporter immediately...
And then there's a clip where he says, a beautiful, a very talented dog. He was talking about our dog that was chasing them. A very talented dog.
A reporter asked him seconds later, how did you hear that? Was there audio on your feed? And then Trump said, I don't want to talk about that. He just talked about it, and they didn't want to talk about it. Yeah. Well, we'll talk about other stuff in a minute here.
From the cradle bars comes a beckoning voice, a thing spinning. You have no choice. You hear laughter cracking through the walls, this thing spinning. You have no choice. You hear laughter cracking through the walls, this thing spinning. You have no choice. Following the footsteps of a red dawn, once we are entranced, spellbound. Following the footsteps of a red dawn, once we are entranced, spellbound, spellbound, spellbound. Oh, oh. Spellbound, 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 spellbound. And don't forget when your elders forget to say their prayers. Take them by the legs and throw them down the stairs. When you think your toys have gone berserk, it's an illusion you cannot share. You hear laughter cracking through the walls, it's then spinning. You have no choice. Following the footsteps of a red dawn, once we are entranced, spellbound. Following the footsteps of a red dawn, once we are entranced, spellbound, spellbound, spellbound. Oh, oh. Spellbound, 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 spellbound. Following the footsteps of a red dawn, we are entranced. Following the footsteps of a red dawn, we are entranced, 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 entranced.
It's a beautiful day. Comes to you 5 days a week, usually, at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, where we talk about news.
We've had a day here and there where we didn't do it because sometimes, you know, we only have a certain amount of hours until our son gets out of school. So sometimes there are other things we have to accomplish and errands we have to run, and that means we can't do the show.
And if you aren't on our Facebook page, you won't know. So you got to find us. Whoa. Find Wittershins on Facebook. That's a beat. Wittershins Radio
I like bees.
on Facebook. We're looking at bees right now.
Geranium.
Yeah.
I just decaterpillared. Our geraniums have these like gnarly green caterpillars, and sometimes they're in cocoons. There's moths that lay eggs, and they totally destroy the flowers. The best way to take care of it is to pull off the caterpillars and throw them over the tower.
Throw them downstairs.
Yeah.
Jamie was asking about the jumper. Yeah, the jumper didn't jump, but
Yeah,
some of the...
I mean, I might have misled some people. I didn't mean that somebody already jumped and they were dealing with it. It was somebody who was threatening to jump, but he ended up not jumping. They dealt with it for hours, though. They negotiated with
But
them.
then, some of the people on the app
Oh my
were
God,
saying,
there were so
shoot
many-
him already.
Yeah, there's some people on the app were like, that guy kept me up all night, and the traffic. I mean, it was like right in rush hour where they literally stopped one way of the 101, which is a major freeway here. So people were pissed. People were like, this should have been dealt with 8 hours ago, very quickly. But anyway, they have him in custody, so they talked him down somehow, and he's in custody. And
So-
then the freeway is totally moving again.
Yes, as we can hear now. It was good. It was so quiet. Let me see. Oh, Jesus. Okay. I hate it when the news story jumps. Yep, it jumped again. This one interests me. House Judiciary argues urgent need for Mueller grand jury documents. House Judiciary Committee argued to a federal judge today that it has urgent need for the documents. The Trump administration had appealed the decision, giving the White House access to the details by Thursday, and is asking the courts to step in and pause the handover. The public interest demands a swift but thorough impeachment investigation, the House wrote in its filing. Delay in this case would not only hinder the House's ability to consider impeachment quickly, but also enhance DOJ's ability to run out the clock.
Yeah, wait, what is he trying to prolong it? I'm sorry, I missed the first part.
This part, they're talking about. This would allow the Department of Justice to run out the clock on the impeachment inquiry
There's a clock?
altogether. I don't know of a clock.
Like a certain amount of time in which they have to complete the inquiry?
And being that we have the Department of Justice obstructing, something needs to be done about that. I mean, the guy's clearly not the Department of Justice. He's the Department of Trump's bitch boy.
Yep.
They know that. House argued it wants to see the details both for its Ukraine impeachment investigation and examining whether the president attempted to obstruct the Russia investigation, which Mueller thoroughly investigated. Yeah, good. I hope they follow up on that, because there was so much obstruction, witness tampering, you name it. It's crimes, high crimes, felonies, not misdemeanors.
It's a hate crime.
They hate him. It was a crime. Yeah, so I'll remind you again, as I've been reminded recently, the Clinton impeachment started over a real estate deal and ended up a blowjob. And that's what brought him down, or lying about the blowjob's really what brought him down. They could go anywhere with this. Pence's plan to release a transcript of his own calls with Ukrainian president is on hold. Look at that. So Pence is on board. House Democrats defend the decision to hold an impeachment inquiry. What you got any... it's probably about Breitbart time.
You think
The
so?
funnest part of the day. When Marta looks at the headlines over there on
They're always very
the fake news.
Yeah, this is our segment. They're our fake news segment.
Yeah, we should just call it fake news.
Yeah.
Let's see. Marta's getting over to Breitbart with a cripplingly slow internet connection.
Secret impeachment process marches on. Okay, that's one headline. Okay, this is something about Taylor Swift that I don't care about. I guess the Breitbart cares about her. 1.1 million migrants crossed into the U.S. in fiscal year 2019. Nearly 500,000 families. Okay. The impeachment show. Why NES official Alex Vindman testifying in full military... Oh, why is he testifying in full military uniform? Okay. Let's see. Trump potential Baghdadi. Trump tweets potential Baghdadi successor terminated. I know the Kurds subsequently killed somebody under Baghdadi.
They killed another guy
Yeah, I
today.
know, maybe that's the potential successor that was terminated that he's tweeting about. Let's see. This wars. Alabama. Just quickly. Alabama had this abortion ban that was the strictest one of all. I don't think they had any exceptions for rape or incest, except if the mother's life is in danger. I think they still made an exception for that. But a judge blocked it. So right now it's not taking effect. Let's see. Ooh, report predicts record U.S. holiday shopping sales this year. Dancing with the Stars fans baffled as Spicer survives again. You know what? I have to say something about that. That was actually a very shrewd thing for those. Is it NBC?
I think it's 80.
To do, because we never watched Dancing with the Stars. We never had any interest in watching Dancing with the Stars.
Good show.
Never discussed watching Dancing with the Stars, but we watch that shit every week.
Too spicy.
Well, we end up watching the rest of them too, you know, because it's on. So we watch the rest of them. It's still, you know, not my favorite show, but we watch it. It's on every Monday just to see Spicy. And you know what? He's been, like, hands down the worst dancer every single time. And the judges' scores reflect that. Like, he always, you know, it's on a scale of 1 to 10. Most people get, like, 7s and 8s. Spicy always gets 5s and 4s. So he always gets the lowest score. But the way that they do it is they combine the judges' scores with the callers, the people who, you know, call in who they like. So he gets so many calls that despite having the worst score, obviously the worst scores, he keeps advancing, and because people want to see what he's going to do, so they call for him. It's funny. So it's a really smart thing on their part to do. What?
Yeah. Somebody was saying something about the microphone. Let me see. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, let's see. I don't know. A little bit of echo, but I guess it's working. All right. Yeah, microphone's always tripping. But I got to say, you know, to seeing the president's former liar, who had such a hard time with his job, dressed up as Frankenstein's monster, dancing to the Monster Mash.
Oh, I
You know, that was
totally spaced that. He was dancing to the Monster Mash last night. And you know, it's funny because I was looking at him and I made a comment and you totally agreed with me. He actually looked better in that makeup, the Halloween makeup, the Frankenstein's monster. They like added, you know, eyebrow bones and stuff. And
gave him a forehead.
Yeah, and he actually looked better.
Oh dear. Let's see. We got there's
I'm still looking at
the Breitbart headlines.
Texas Republicans push back against child transgender medical treatments. Florida pastor kills himself after teenage girl accuses him of rape. Authorities study skulls and fetus from Mexico City cartel's witchcraft altar. Okay, I'm going to read this one. Or wait, should we save it for Witterson's? Okay. Authorities study skulls and fetus from Mexico City cartel's witchcraft altar. Authorities are working to identify 42 skulls, a fetus in a jar, and dozens of other human remains found around a witchcraft altar apparently used by Union de Tepito cartel in Mexico City. Forensic analysts are working to identify the remains found in one of the houses recently raided in the Tepito area of Mexico City. Through the use of DNA samples, authorities are working to identify victims and determine if they match any missing person cases, El Universal reports. Breitbart, Texas reported last week on a large-scale raid targeting the Union de Tepito, where more than 700 police and military forces arrested 31 suspects, seized several tons of drugs, and found 2 labs. Authorities also found a weapons cache, which included a rocket launcher and grenades. The raid targeted the operations of the ruling cartel in Mexico City. The group's current leader, El Lunares, escaped. Authorities believed he was tipped off moments before the raid. Several local high-level policemen are currently under investigation for their alleged ties with the cartel. Soon after, a federal judge ordered the release of 27 of the 31 suspects, claiming their arrests were illegal, involving fabricated evidence to develop the investigation. That's it. So it's not really talking about the witchcraft altar. That's
Right away, it's cartels, so you know it's going to be Santa Muerte, which is not witchcraft.
But it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't talk about any kind of craft at all.
No.
It just talks about the bus.
Well, now this story is interesting. Not Breitbart. This is from the BBC. Ukraine conflict. Frontline troops begin pullout. Ukrainian government troops and Russian-backed separatists have begun withdrawing from a key frontline area in eastern Ukraine. The separation of forces in Zolot is happening right now, Ukrainian Foreign Minister Vladimir Pristyako said. A separatist official quoted by Russia's RIA news agency said both sides had fired colored signal rockets to mark both sides' withdrawal. A deal was agreed this month to end the Donbas region 5-year conflict. Under the deal, both sides were to start withdrawing from their positions in the towns of Zolot, Petrinsky on October 9th. But there were skirmishes between Ukrainian police and war veterans who tried to prevent the troop pullout. Will a deal with Russia bring peace to Ukraine? On October 26th, Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky visited the scene and ordered the war veterans to disarm. Mr. Pelisenko said shooting in Zolot stopped on the 17th. Ukraine's high military command confirmed that the withdrawal had begun. Wow. See, I hadn't heard anything about that. All we hear about Ukraine is Trumpgate. There's a pullout. Russian troops are backing out, and Ukrainian troops are backing out of a certain area, creating a buffer zone between the troops. Some sort of a deal. So I guess in September, they had a prisoner swap. Russia and Ukraine. Yeah. See, I missed most of this crap.
I mean, just for me, being from Ukraine, it's weird because I was born in Ukraine, but I only speak Russian. And ethnically, I'm just as much Russian and Ukrainian in equal parts. So I always treat it like it's the same thing. And then when there was a conflict, it was just kind of confusing because I'm used to. I mean, I'll even just tell people I'm used to just saying I'm Russian, even though I'm Russian and Ukrainian. But I only speak Russian, so I don't know. It's confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should we take another musical break?
Wow. We should probably just close out with some music at this point. It's 52. I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to be back tonight for the regular Widdershins broadcast, 5 p.m.
Yeah, we have
Pacific time.
Another show called Widdershins that's once a week on Tuesday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific. And we've been doing that one for a couple years. And then, I don't know, I just decided that we should do a 1-hour daily one. Because by the time we would read the news on Widdershins, I'd already forget what happened over the week. I mean, it's hard enough, even when you do it every day. Sometimes I forget about stuff. But anyway, that one's a little more in-depth, I guess, because we have 2 hours, even though we play more music. But, and that one has more of a witchy vibe to it.
Yeah, it'll be our last one before Samhain. So, yeah, we got to get witchy.
Witchy.
All right. Let's see. I think this. Well, we'll see you tonight.
chance comes sweetly and kisses me. Precise and a slave to the master's demand.